All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the Tia and Tamera thing that's going around social media. So, Tia, from Tia and Tamera, if y'all don't know, sister, and a whole host of other things that they've done, right? So, there's just a whole discussion going around social media in regards to Tia because I believe she has her own reality show now that's documenting her life with herself and her children, navigating being recently newly divorced and different things like that, right? So there is one part where I guess she described that she's no longer as close to her twin as she once was. Once that was released on the blogs, child, everybody just went and ran with it and came with these hypotheses and theses and theories and think pieces and just went buck wild, right? Number one, everything that I say and everybody else says online is purely opinionated. It's opinion. It's how we feel about what we see. So it's not factual. Number two, I know she also stated that at one point in time when she was going through the divorce, she was extremely, what do you call that, fixated on the blogs and how they saw her and her actions and what she was doing, I guess, in regards to the divorce and looking at different people's comments about she should have kept her man or she shouldn't have got a divorce or she should have tried to work it out, just different things like that. And I can understand to a certain extent being a public figure, being online, being an entertainer, being an actress, your life is under a lot of scrutiny. Things that regular people would go through is not under a microscope. You don't see it, so it's not magnified to that extent unless somebody blasts you online. But since they're automatically always online, then they're able to see other people's thoughts, feelings, even people who have disdain or don't like them for whatever reason, because a lot of times they never even met these celebrities or artists or entertainers. So, she was fixated on that and just a lot of things, but specifically dealing with her and her sister. So for a long time, just in watching them growing up, and sister, and just doing a whole lot of different things, you've noticed how close they really were. Like, they're identical twins. They're very, very close. Now, if you watched their reality show some years back, I remember watching it. It was really good. They definitely have two different personalities. Um, you can see the difference. I can actually tell them apart. They actually look different to me. They look alike, but I can see their differences, so I can tell them apart. Um, their personalities are different, and I feel like that's expressed in the way that they dress. Also, the different things that they select different from each other. That can be their spouses, the way they choose to carry themselves, or whatever. But even though they're twins, they're allowed to be their own individual self. And I think that's okay. Now, in regards to their relationship, hopefully this does not set her off track. Everybody's thoughts about her relationship with her sister and lack thereof. Number one, relationships with siblings and relatives, they go up and down, okay? You are very fortunate, you're very blessed, you're lucky, whatever you want to call it, when you have relationships, especially with those closest to you, and they tend to weather the test of time, and you really don't have any type of damage to the relationship where you disagree to a point where you stop talking or don't talk as much or drift apart or whatever. Sometimes you may have certain relationships, family dynamics, family relationships where y'all just been cool from the jump. And then there are many instances in many families where siblings, even parents and children, they just grow apart. For whatever reason, whether it's for toxic reasons, whether it's for mental health, whether it's just because they just never really were close and they just don't talk a lot, maybe because they're at different points in their life, whatever it is. For me, It's my opinion from observation, looking at the show, looking at them, looking at their personalities. People change, people grow. Um, where you are in life also dictates your circle and who's around you. Definitely Tia is divorced. Um, Tamera is more of a family oriented, very, you can tell that that's very important to her. Not saying that that wasn't important to Tia, but you could tell the difference if you understand what I'm saying. Um, and because of Tamera being a mother, a wife, being married, a lot of her priorities may be a little bit more different than her sister at this point right now, okay? Her sister is single. She's trying to navigate dating. She's trying to navigate putting her pieces of her life back together, you know, understanding what it means to be a single mother that co-parents and has young children, you know, just finding herself in different things like that. So that's one dynamic right there. So your lifestyle can either push you away or kind of drift you guys apart. You don't have a lot in common. Doesn't mean you can't talk, doesn't mean you can't check up on each other, doesn't mean you stop loving the person, but you can drift apart because of that, right? Another reason would be is that, you know, sometimes people show their true colors within certain situations. Now, I have seen different memes, different clips, especially from their show and just different, you know, interviews and different things that they've done. Now, in retrospect, you kind of look back and you're like, okay, I can kind of see what was going on. Or people speculate, okay, I can see they were growing apart. It appears that Tia may not understand the scope of how important support is to her sister, okay? When your sister is crying out to you and she's saying, people are saying this about me online, or I feel this type of way, or this is how I'm feeling, or, you know, whatever it is, to laugh at your sister or to dismiss it or to show a lack of compassion, and this can be over many different instances, that can definitely push someone away. And if someone has dealt with that type of behavior or characteristics from you for a certain amount of time, then after a while, if they assess it and look over the whole situation over time, they're like, you know what? I can't deal with this right now for my own mental health. You never know. But still approach it with love. I still love you, but I just choose to give you your space. And I saw a video where she's actually said that, Tamera has said that. I think it was on her book tour, because I know somebody said Tia is selfish. Like, it's usually all about her. And they showed a clip where Tamera basically said, you're selfish, it's all about you. And I think Tia actually announced, I remember this, when her divorce, she announced it during the same time that Tamera was doing her book tour. So then Tamera had to start answering questions about Tia's divorce. And it was just so awkward and weird. True, they live their own separate lives and it shouldn't be dependent on one another. But at the same time, you are aware of how what you do affects a person, especially if they're close to you. That's just like if you married, you know, y'all are two grown individuals, but what your husband does affects you, and what you do affects your husband. Vice versa. It can affect your family, you know? So just being mindful of that, and, you know, them being siblings and close twins and different things like that, you know, a lot of things do affect them. And I remember seeing them saying that, you know, they can feel each other's emotions. Like, you know, whatever affects one twin affects them too, and they can feel them emotionally. So for Tamera to say, you know, I give her space, you know, we're at different points in our life, blah, 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 it's understandable. So do I feel like it's blown out of proportion? I think it may be, but again, we don't know that situation. We're not in their lives. We don't know what's really going on. Maybe they're not talking. Or maybe they just don't talk as they used to, and that's still okay. They still got love. They still support each other from afar, but sometimes you have to let people go through their own course of life, right? Even if they're not talking and they beefing behind the scenes, it ain't our issue. You know, it ain't our business. You know what I mean? Wish them well and just move forward. But of course, it's going to be talked about because it's out here in the media. You're in a reality show now. So everybody is going to have an opinion about it. But just make sure that you're strong enough mentally to be able to deal with seeing all of the opinions of people out here, since you did put it out on forefront for everyone to see. And that's just my 2 cents. What you think about this? Let me know down in the comment section. Peace.